in 2021, we're going to start feeling this economic crisis. All the people that are not working right now, all the mortgages that are not going to be paid, all this debt, which is outstanding right now, it's all going to come down somewhere in 2021. So if, let's say, during the year, the focus was more on crisis management, on how we're going to deal with the immediate effects of what's happening, I think 2021 is going to be the long-term effects. How are we going to deal with the new market situation? How are we going to deal with all this debt that we're not going to be able to recoup?
There's an expectation with either one that we'll soon quickly get back to where we were before once the coronavirus is contained. And as I've said quite often in the past several months, is the easy recovery part where you get people initially back to work is pretty easy. So I use the example of a restaurant that closes, loses 100% of its employees. You partially open it back up, you get about 50% of the employees back. That's a huge jump. But to go from 50% to 100% is really hard. And I would caution business leaders and policy leaders too, to assume that once the virus is contained, we'll just magically jump right back to 100%. I think what you said, Zvi, earlier about it's going to be 2024 is I don't doubt that for a second, because it's going to, the last little bits of growth are always the hardest, of getting everyone to coordinate in a decentralized way, that the people who want to buy have the money because they have jobs, which means other people want to buy what they're offering, which means they have jobs, which means et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so getting back that first little bump is pretty easy. The last little bump is, or the last jump back up to where we were before, is really hard. And that, to me, leads to the question of really focusing, as Alon said, not on opportunities just as what's out there in the market, but who's going to go after those opportunities, because not everyone can win. So think of the airlines. If it's going to be 2024 until we get back to full capacity, it may not be that every airline can survive. And so who's going to be the one that survives? And how do you position yourself to survive relative to the other airlines in the world and in the market? Because they're not just going to sit back and say, well, Zvi's airline's doing really well, so I guess that's it for us. They're going to fight back. And so how do you think about all those different dynamics of who's going to be fighting for what for a while is going to be a smaller pie?